Here are my 5 steps to creating a sustainable diversity and inclusion strategy, particularly for organizations that are at the very beginning stage of their D&I journey. Number 1, motive. One of the most important things for talent from Black and minority ethnic background, especially when it comes to organization designing a diversity and inclusion strategy, is that they want to make sure that the motivation behind it is sincere and is pure and is authentic. There's nothing worse than talents that you're looking to attract or retain in your organization, discovering that the reason why you're adopting the D&I strategy is simply doing it for as a tick box exercise or because it's trendy and everyone's doing so, so you feel obliged to do it. So before you get started, as an organization or as a senior leadership team, self-reflect, self-analyze, and question the motivation as to why, and let it come from a place that's pure, sincere, and genuine. And number 2 is to think about the long term. Again, organizations in some cases take the short-term approach where they implement a D&I strategy simply because it's the trendy thing to do, it's the popular thing to do, and they feel pressured because of the social or political climate to adopt a D&I strategy without necessarily thinking about the long-term implications of the organization, looking to see if the environment is right and is suitable to implement a D&I strategy, and they just do so without actually having a clear vision behind why they're actually doing it. Number 3 is thinking about transparency. Over the years, I've had a chance to conduct research with early talents from Black and minority ethnic backgrounds, roundtable discussions, in one-to-one interviews, and ask them what's the most important thing that they look for in an organization that they choose to work for. And transparency comes up the most. And why is that important for talents from Black and minority background? This is because, there is already a breakdown in trust between a suspicion as to why organizations want to attract Black and minority talent. They question what's the motive behind it. Is it sincere? And this is why, and how you can become more transparent as an organization is to, during the selection process, during the interview process, or actually when advertising your job, consider writing or creating a page explaining your current state of play in terms of how many talent from Black or minority ethnic background you have in your organization. Where do you intend on getting to in the next 4 to 5 years or even 10 years? And how many people within the organization, within the senior leadership team are from Black and minority ethnic group? And finally, what's the progression route? So people want to see, can I trust this organization? And by being transparent, this will go a long way in actually building that confidence and trust in your organization. And number 4 is around culture. Again, some organizations attract talent from Black and minority ethnic group, expecting them to operate within the pre-existing dominant culture within the organization. My strong advice before I get it started is to assess your organizational culture and to see if it's actually fit for purpose, if it will help talents from Black and minority ethnic backgrounds to perform to the best of their ability, but most importantly, be their authentic self. So we know when people are being authentic, they perform better, they're a lot more motivated and a lot more engaging in the workforce. So ensure that your culture caters for everyone within the organization and not just one particular dominant culture. And finally, is thinking about organizational buy-in. I have witnessed this several times where the senior leadership team are brought into diversity and inclusion, whereas people in the middle or at the bottom are not brought into the idea of a D&I journey. So how you can address this actually is to organize forums and ensure that you create a safe space for your existing employees to express any concerns that they may have around diversity and inclusion, and listen to this attentively, pay close attention to what they're saying, and look for ways to address this concern. Don't just rush into implementing diverse and inclusive culture without getting the buy-in from the wider organization, because failing to do so is going to have a long-term, not just financial implications, but also potentially losing people from your organization. So my strong recommendation would be, before starting your diversity and inclusion journey, to ensure that you have a clear motivation as to why you want to do this, have a think long-term, and have a sort of be transparent if you're looking to attract and engage, and think about the culture, not just expecting people to fit in within a pre-existing dominant culture. Create a culture where everyone can feel free to express who they are truly, express their cultural background, cultural differences, and finally, ensure you have organizational buy-in.